Are you new to your leadership role, or do you have some challenges trying to get your staff to do what you really need them to do or expect of them? Today we're going to cover off how to set clear expectations with your team so they know what to do and you know when to hold them to account. Perhaps you've had a manager in the past who hasn't really been that clear about what was expected. I know that I have, and it made me feel really unsure about whether or not I was actually even doing a very good job. It led to a sense of frustration and ultimately made me feel like I was failing, as it was never made really clear up front what was really expected of me. This experience, however, has led me to ensure that I'm really clear with my direct reports about my expectations of them, and I have some practical tips now to hopefully help you set up you and your team for success. Tip number 1 is to start with some shared goals. So before launching in with your expectations, it's good to make sure that everybody is on the same page and understands what you are all ultimately aiming for in the big picture. Then you can articulate how each individual team member contributes to this overarching goal. It could be that the goal is to provide excellent customer service to anyone that comes through your doors, and that each team member contributes by being friendly and helpful to every customer that interacts with them. With everybody knowing what the overarching goal is, it creates a really clear sense of purpose and hopefully encourages everybody to work towards their overall objective. Tip number 2, if you haven't got one, is to set up a framework to help define clear expectations for each project or task in your team. I use the SMART framework. SMART stands for specific, what exactly needs to be accomplished; measurable, how will success be measured; achievable, is the goal realistic and attainable; relevant, does the task align with what the goal is trying to achieve; and time bound, when is the deadline for completion. Using a framework such as this helps create a really clear map for you and your team of what is expected of them. Now, when you get used to thinking in a framework such as this, it can work for even the most simple and straightforward of expectations. So a very basic example. You have just hired a new staff member and they need to turn up at 8:30 a.m. Be specific. Your start time is 8:30 a.m. Success is obviously measured by them starting work at 8:30 a.m. Is that achievable? Well, if they've accepted a job that hopefully has clearly stated business hours of 8:30 a.m. start, then presumably that's what they signed up for. But a great conversation to make sure that you've had. Now, how relevant is this to the overall goal? Perhaps the phone lines for great customer service open at 8:30 a.m. and they need to be available for this. So yes, definitely relevant to the overarching goal. And the final one, time bound. Well, obviously in this situation, this is a forever thing. If they're at work, they're starting at 8:30 a.m. I find that the SMART framework really helps create a clear set of criteria to ensure that everyone understands what's expected of them and what success looks like and the time frame for which it's going to be achieved. I find it really useful to help guide me and my team so that I can help set some clear expectations. Number 3 is about open communication. You can clearly articulate the expectations that you have of your team, but in my view, it's a two-way conversation. Things happen, life interrupts all the best laid plans and all of that, so try and create a space where your team feel comfortable coming to you. I try and lead with a no surprises approach. So if things aren't going 100%, my team know that I would rather know that right from the outset and that I want an update so that we can plan around it. The worst case scenario in my eyes is that my team is trying to meet expectations, but the wheels start to fall off. And instead of telling me when that first wheel fell off and us trying to fix it together, they wait until the deadline is looming and it's too late to just fix one little thing. If my team don't feel like they can come and tell me when things are going wrong, I see that as a failure of mine to create an environment of open communication and honesty. In order to have clear expectations and see results, there does need to be some resilience built into the plan. which is where that feedback loop comes in. And it is tip number 4. Create opportunities for feedback and check-ins. Expectation setting works best if there's an opportunity to respond to the situation and adjust the plan when necessary. I try and build in regular checkpoints with my team so that I know where things are at and can check on a regular basis before things can unravel. I do this through regular coaching with my team on a fortnightly or weekly basis. This can be a conversation about the progress of the project, or just as a check-in where you both know what the expectations are, and it's an opportunity for you to acknowledge that they're doing a really great job of meeting your expectations and things are tracking well. I do believe that for people to feel valued in their work, they need to feel as though they're visible and that you're noticing, which I think is sometimes as simple as saying thank you, you're doing a great job. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Nikki and I've been in leadership for over 17 years, and I've gone from leading just 2 people to leading leaders of large teams. And tip number 5 for setting clear expectations is to document them. It doesn't need to be a lengthy explanation, just keeping a record of project goals and milestones. This serves as a reference point for individuals and you, so that you can ensure there aren't misunderstandings down the track in terms of what expectations were set. I will record bullet point action points for each of my catch-ups that I have with my team. And I'll also keep them running if we meet one fortnight and something hasn't been completed by either me or them. I'll keep it on the list of action points so that we don't lose sight of what our expectations are that we need each other to complete. And yes, that is my actions too, as it is a two-way conversation, and I need to make sure that I'm accountable as well. I believe if you can follow all 5 of these tips, it is a great place to set yourself up for ensuring that your team members can fulfill your expectations and you have clear communication regarding them. If you want more information on how to do regular coaching with your team so that you can successfully help support them in your leadership role, make sure you check out my video linked on the screen. And thanks very much for watching.